Hi everyone, today I'm working on an easy waterfall envelope flip and the Inky Owl Studios gave me the motivation for this one. So basically you use two junk mail envelopes and you end up with this really pretty waterfall. And when it's glued into your journal you can also have a tuck either in the top or on the side. And then in each pocket you've got room for a nice journaling card. There's one of the pretty envelopes in there. Some note paper in that size pocket. And then in this large pocket you've got one of those Project Life cards that fits in really nicely. And then when you make it and you use this feature paper, from the leftover of one of your pieces you can make a pretty envelope. So that's the first sample, and then the second sample is here. Oops, hang on, that envelope goes with that one and that envelope goes with that one. So the second sample you end up again, this one open, I made it open on the left hand side so it can go on the left hand journal page. And then this one opens to the right hand side, and again you flip it up and you've got your three different flips. This one I used a window envelope and I've put an image behind the cellophane there. And again another Project Life card in the bottom. And I've just used some clip art images to add some little animals. So there you are, that's the first one opening to the left, that's this one opening to the right, and to make it you just need two envelopes. So I've just got two return mail envelopes, and it doesn't matter the size but I'll just let you know mine. It's either 22 centimetres or just under 8 3/4 by 11 centimetres or just 4 1/4. So they're my envelopes. And then you need one piece of decorative paper for the front. You cut a strip that's going to be the same width as your envelopes, and from the leftovers I've just cut a square, just whatever the width was that was left. I've made a square that gives me a bit of scrap that will become the envelope. And then you need a piece that's going to go on the inside so that you can write on, so something that's fairly plain for you to journal on. So you need two strips, so if you print one sheet of that you cut two strips of that, and again that's the same width as your envelopes, and that gives you this little leftover piece. So I'll show you how I made mine. You just need to start with your envelopes and make sure they're sealed shut. So I'm going to seal it shut and add a little extra glue in a few spots just so nothing gets caught when I'm opening it. So seal it closed. And then you just want to trim a sliver off the end of the envelope. So basically just taking that tiny bit, this is just going to be the opening on the side. So I'm just taking a very small amount just so that that envelope is open. And do the same on this one. So there's your two envelopes and they open down one side. Just miss that tiny little bit there. Now I'll bring these two back. I've done both of these, when I fold the envelopes, I've done both of these at about 1.5, but you can adjust that depending on what you want for your envelopes. If you do that, the finished product, starting with my length envelope, ends up just under 6 3/4. So I'm just using the lines on this board, and I want to I'm making this level with the bottom, and I'm wanting to fold this over so that I've got a 1.5 inch gap here, and I'm just lining the sides of the envelopes up and folding and scoring that. So that's scored at 1.5. And then what I want to do now is sit the next envelope on. So I've just lined the new envelope up at the bottom, making sure the sides are opening the same way. I think I've got that round the wrong way. Sides are both opening to the right. This one's scored at 1.5. Put this one on the board and line this one up at the 1.5 inch mark, and just lining up the sides there. And then fold the top over and score. So now you've got that pocket, that pocket, that one, and that one on there. So once you've done that, you just want to open that top flap and put a little bit of glue on the back here. Just a thin line. And position that again, making sure the side lines up. And I've just left the tiniest bit of room at the top so that my top folds down without it butting right up against it, and just to give everything a good burnish. And so that's your envelope base. That will be the top image that we're going to cut. So the next thing to do is taking one of the pieces of the paper you're going to use as a scrapbook paper, tuck that in so that it sits at the top, and then I'm just marking it about 1/4 inch down and cutting that piece. So this piece will glue under there, and you'll see 1/4 inch. Flip the next one up and tuck it in again, and again mark about 1/4 inch down. Keep that scrap, so that one will tuck in there. Then lift up this next scrap, and this is where you need the second piece. Tuck that in at the top, and again mark 1/4 inch down. So there you have it like that, and then you want to just glue these pieces into position. Okay, the next step is we're going to take this top image, and we want to put glue on this top flap. Just align the top and the sides, and just make certain this piece of paper, you can always trim it, but make sure it's straight down the side here, and then flip it over, and I'm going to trim. So I'm just going to butt this top edge of my scissors up against the side of this envelope here, and then cut as straight a line as possible without cutting that envelope open. And then that's my first part. This next part I'm going to glue on like that. So I want the glue to start just under that image, and then put glue all over the next flap. So I'm just lifting it slightly. Close this top image again, and when you're putting this image on, you want to make certain that you align all of your lines here and make sure it's butting up against that image and everything's lined up. Then lift this flap and glue that down, and then flip it over and again trim off by butting the scissors up. So that's your first flap. Your second flap, again you want glue right up to where that last image finished. Pop your image on, make sure everything lines up. Flip it over again and trim. Glue again. And just trim that last little bit off. So that's the basic waterfall flip. And then on these samples you can see that I've also decorated this part of the envelope. So I did that using, these are the scraps that I cut off. So I did that using these scraps, and a little bit of washi. I am endeavouring to use up some of my washi because I've got so much washi tape it's ridiculous. So I just liked the way that broke it up. So just most of these pieces will be almost the right size anyway. So let's just quickly do that. And then the final step, if you want to, on these ones, you can see I've taken a little cutout, a little notch for each of the pockets. I can just fit this small punch in. You can open it up, so you can open it up and get a larger punch in if you want, but this one just makes it for me. And then on the others, I like to use this one. So there you are, that's finished, and you've got your pockets there ready to fill. And as you can see from these two, I've just filled them with cut down cards, a pretty little envelope, some note paper, and one of the Project Life book cards. That's in that one. And this one I've just cut some little tags and shaped the edges of them just from some cardstock so that they can be decorated as well. And if you use a window envelope, you can also add the decoration in there behind so that you've got a pretty picture showing through the acetate. And then to make the envelope, just a quick simple method. I'm just using the lines on my board. So I'm just lining up, so this is a square. I'm just lining up, I'll do it upside down, just lining up the corners of each envelope on one of the lines. And then I'm bringing in to about the middle and just using this line to keep it straight. I'm just bringing in the sides. Just trying to line these 2 points up roughly, and then folding the bottom up, making sure that the fold is above where that crease ends. And then folding the top down, again making sure that it folds past that point, and just using the lines on the board. And that gives you a nice quick envelope. And then just folding this little tab over so that it ends up level with the sides there, and flip it back, pop a little bit of glue under there, and a little bit of glue down the sides, and that gives you a lovely quick and simple envelope. If you want to, you can trim the little extra bits off. I'm just going to leave them. That way you've got the whole piece of paper is used. You've only got a tiny little bit of scrap left, and you've got that set, and that set, just with those single sheet of scrapbooking paper, or this, in this case it's from a digital. You get an envelope and this beautiful waterfall envelope flip. So I hope you enjoyed that, and I'd love to see or hear how you go if you have a try at making one. Thanks so much for watching.